you have to park in the front. You have to park in the front sometimes just so people can see and you can share the sight of a Range Rover from 50 million angles, man. It's just beautiful. Welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the garage. I hope everybody is doing great. Today we're going to have a conversation about some of the maintenance aspect that I wanted to point out for pre-purchase when it comes to a Range Rover L405. Go ahead and buckle up, guys. Let's go. Alright, so today we're talking about an L405 and a couple of points I wanted to share with you guys. So number one thing I wanted to make sure everybody checks out whenever they're buying the L405 is the history of the vehicle. Maintenance history, ownership history. History of the vehicle is one thing, is the number one thing you want to go ahead and check, and there's a lot of reasoning behind that. Maintenance history, you want to make sure that you have as much paperwork of maintenance that has been done on the car since it was bought. Now if you're the first owner, it's a different story. So here we're talking about used or second hand or third hand Range Rover, but you got to make sure you check the history of the Range Rover, the history of the repairs on it, where it was done, when it was done, if possible what parts were installed. And it's something that can be checked easily if you can identify where it was done. So if it was at a dealership, you can always call and you can have that information available to you. If it was at another third-party mechanic, it might be a little bit more complicated to do. However, deals like Carfax and I think Car Vertical in the UK will provide you with as much information as you need to know, or as they have when it comes down to maintenance. One thing I would advise to stay away from is 80% of the maintenance being done off the books, under somebody's tree or in somebody's garage. And it could be the greatest car ever, but from a buyer's perspective, you want to have coming in the less amount of headaches when it comes down to your purchase. So make sure you have the maintenance history and it's well documented, and you can actually check on the car, meaning you can have the paperwork or the information, and when you go in you can double check, make sure those brakes look good, make sure those axles look good, make sure that every single thing that had to be done on the car based on the manual when it comes to maintenance record and maintenance schedule was done on the vehicle. The other aspect of the history that you want to check is the ownership history. It is a huge red flag when you have any vehicles, forget about the L405, when you have any vehicle have a lot of owners, right? And here in the US, depending on the state, every time you refinance your car, sometimes it shows up on the Carfax like it was a new owner, because you have a new lien on the car if you're financing the car, and that will show up as a new owner. So be aware of that. You know, you can have 16 different owners, but it could just be that every year the person that owned the car chose to refinance it, or chose to up their lease, or just chose to, you know, they had a better credit and they just wanted to go for it. So make sure you check and ensure that the owners that are listed are actual people. And if you do have a lot of owners on a vehicle, that is a red flag. It could be because the car, especially if you pair that with the mileage, but it could be because the car have a lot of issues and they're trying to get out of it. It could be because the car was just neglected, and it could also be a red flag as the car getting stolen and all that stuff. Now here in the US we don't have that issue, a lot of that with the cars getting stolen, despite the key fob issue. But make sure you check on your history. The number two thing that I'm going to provide here is going to be recalls on the vehicle. When you're buying an L405, make sure you check on the recalls, okay? And the number one recall that I wanted to point out here is something that I've talked about in another video. You can check that video on the playlist about the knuckles, the upper knuckle control on the L405. The recall, I believe, is N759. So make sure you check that video out if you haven't done so. But make sure you check on your recalls. Make sure you put in that VIN number. In the US, again, you can use the National Highway Safety and Transportation Agency website, and you can put in the VIN and it will tell you if you have any recalls that are there. You can also go on the GLR website, and I'm going to put all those links in the description of the video, but you can check those websites as well for dealership, and then you can see if the manufacturer have any recalls that are posted. But make sure you check on the recalls of the vehicle. Okay, it's very important. Also, go on the forums, go on the chat groups, go on the Reddit pages and forums and stuff, and try to chime in there. Try to hear what people have to say, and see if you can get some pointers and some help there. But making sure you don't have a car, you don't go in a car that already has a pending recall, is very, very important when you go for an L405. Number three thing is a mechanic. And for that, it could be yourself, but it could also be a safe place where you can get your mechanic job done on your L405. So prior to purchasing, have an idea of where you're going to conduct your maintenance, and make sure that it's a trustworthy place. The reason behind it is you can buy a car that checks all the boxes, and if your mechanic is just not good enough, not caring, or not knowledgeable, he's gonna mess up your car, and he's gonna trash the experience that you have with the L405. Now, these cars are very, very delicate compared to other vehicles. They do come with a lot of features, and with those features come a lot of maintenance potentially. So make sure that you go ahead and you find yourself a mechanic that can take care of the vehicle for you, and you also inquire about the price of some of the key repairs that will be pointed out in the document that I will make available in the description of the video. So that's going to be number three. Number four, make sure you have some money saved aside. And by that I mean that should be everybody's reflex, right? When you purchase something that is not new, and even new sometimes, when you purchase something that's not new, make sure you have a little money saved aside for repairs. And by little money, I'm gonna mean some sizable amount of money, because L405 repairs are not cheap. It could be as simple as brakes getting done. If you have the Brembo brakes, that is gonna be a couple of thousand if you're doing it all around. It could be something as simple as your crossover pipe on the front. If you go ahead and check those, that's going to be another thousand and some change. It could be your supercharger, it could be your coupler, it could be your control arm, but it's going to be a couple of thousands. Easy, it can run up in the thousands. So make sure you have some money saved aside when you go ahead and purchase your Range Rover or your L405, and make sure you keep that money for the purpose, which is for the car, because it's gonna come up with some surprises. Number five thing I'm gonna point out here is, please prepare yourself mentally, and by that I mean in two ways, right? The good way and the bad way. The good way is you're gonna have so much fun. Okay, you're gonna have an insane amount of fun, an insane amount of excitement. You're gonna be feeling like you just riding like a royalty. You're gonna have all the looks, you're gonna have the attention, you're gonna have the comfort driving the car. You are just gonna get a lot of upside. So prepare yourself for that attention. On the road, people might be mad a little bit if you cut them off. If you're driving good, if you're looking good, if you're spending some good time, they might be pissed off. So make sure that you prepare yourself mentally for that. Now, the flip of the coin is, please make sure you prepare yourself for calling 911 or AAA or the tow truck, because when these things behind me don't like what's going on under the hood, they will just stop. They will give you a fatal warning and they will stop. They will tell you reduce performance, they will tell you licking air, drop suspension, they will tell you stuff, and they will just stop. So make sure that whatever you do, as the man, hey man, make sure whatever you do, you just prepare yourself mentally, because just like anything is gonna break. But I think the biggest thing is the expectation is so high on these cars, and people may not admit it, but the expectation is so high, and rightfully so, that when it breaks, the upset is super high, right? It's twice the height. So make sure you prepare yourself mentally to just relax, right? Use your cooler inside of your car to store your drink so you can wait for the tow truck. Take a seat in the back seat while you wait for the tow truck, and then you enjoy some of whatever amenities you have. But please prepare yourself, because it's gonna break, and when it does, you're gonna get messed up. Now I'm gonna close this video with one last advice: is please stay on top of maintenance. Be current on your maintenance. Stay on top of maintenance. It is worth it. I'm gonna make another video of my 2-year ownership of my L405, and I'm gonna go in depth into the issues that I had, the cost, and maybe what I could have done different. Right? I'll go through what I did and what I could have done different. But one thing I can guarantee you is maintenance help. Right? Maintenance, on time maintenance, or slightly ahead of schedule type of maintenance help. So make sure you stay on top of your maintenance. Make sure you do your part, and the car will take care of you. That has been my experience. It don't matter if you take it off road, you know what it entails if you take a car off road. If you stay mainly on the pavement, you know what it entails too, and you know what kind of wear and tear to expect. You know how you drive your vehicle, you know what to expect. So don't be foolish and expect the car to just heal itself, right? It's not nanotech here. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and be on the lookout for the other videos. Everybody take care, be blessed, enjoy your F05, enjoy your life. Peace.